Hey, Michigan Maniacs. This is the Michigan Maniac Podcast, and I am your host, Adam Brewer. This is the big game pregame Northwestern. All right, before we get into everything, guys, let's go ahead and do the housekeeping because we all love that. Guys, I'm on all social media Instagram, Twitter, Facebook fan group, YouTube. Guys, go like, subscribe, Apple Podcasts, or any platform, basically Spotify, all the places you can get podcasts, that's where I'm at. If you guys just go ahead and like and subscribe, or even just 5-star, review it, hate it, love it, whatever. It gets as long as it's 5 stars, baby, I'm good with it. So let's get into it. Okay. I mean, this is what it is, right? This week is interesting for one reason and one reason only. Well, two reasons, really. One, it's to test Michigan's focus, I believe, right? With the huge showdown coming up against Michigan State, for it to be completely just the fight to end all fights between these schools. This has to be a win this week, right? And Michigan cannot be distracted with that huge game looming. So this is a real big test. Once again, even this whole season has been nothing but amazing tests for Michigan, and they all seem to interlock with one another, leading them, helping them to the greater prize at the end of this season, right? I mean, a lot of these teams present interesting challenges for both our offense and defense that lead to bigger challenges of the same kind of techniques or talents or gameplay or whatever later on with other teams like Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State. Northwestern, this one really doesn't have anything to do with any of that other than it's going to test Michigan's focus and who we are. Are we the team that puts our foot on the neck of a team that is not as good, a lesser team, and demolish them? Or are we going to be the kind of Michigan team that played Northwestern in 2018? I think it was 2018. Went in there down 17-0, I think it was, at halftime. Came back and had to win, 21-17, I think it was. Are we still that team, right? It's going to be very interesting because really Northwestern doesn't present much of a challenge when it comes to talent-wise. I mean, they're a solid school. Don't get me wrong. Those book nerds can play football occasionally. But it takes them 3 to 4 years to coach up a team. They have a really good team, and then they suck for another 2 to 3 years. Coach them up, really good team, then they suck. And it just seems to be that's how this goes. So we'll see. That's one of the interesting challenges about that. The Michigan State game also presents an interesting challenge for us this week. So we'll see. Who are we? Basically is what I'm trying to figure out here. Do we continue to crush teams we should, like Northern Illinois? Or do we fuck around and almost lose like we did against Rutgers? Who's going to be what? So before we actually break down the numbers and stuff, there's not a whole lot of numbers that really stick out here, but I've been thinking a lot about this team lately, and they really, really, really remind me of a team. But I think this is, like I said. Okay, before I say that, let me get my brain a little straightforward here, a little collected. This team is reminding me of 2016 team. They absolutely are. Outside of the passing game, which isn't as explosive as I would say, but it's close. Also, if we had Ronnie Bell this season, 100% we'd be more explosive in the passing game. Plain and simple. It wouldn't even be close. But they're very similar. Now, I use the end of the season numbers for the 2016 team, and I only use scoring offense and scoring defense and where we ranked nationally. I didn't realize actually how well we did scoring offense-wise in 2016. I knew we were pretty good. I didn't know that we were top 10. In 2016, our scoring offense was ranked 8th in the nation. We were averaging 38 points. Oh no, my fault. We were ranked 10th in the nation. We had 40 points per game. 40 points per game. Was pretty awesome. And then defensively, we were ranked 2 scoring defense, right? With 14 points per game. Pretty impressive. Uh, so with that being said, it reminds me of this team because right now, as we speak, I didn't know this. I really thought we were higher up. I thought we were in the mid 20s, even 30s in scoring offense. But right now, the Michigan offense is ranked 8th in the country for scoring offense. Shocking. I mean, with an average of 38 points per game. And then our defense, top 10, 10th in the nation with 15 points per game. I mean, it's very similar. I, if that's the case, that 2016 team was able to put their foot on the throat of the teams that they should beat. But that's where we are the 2016 team, but on steroids, because I really believe we're the 2.0 version of this. Because with the culture that we've created, all that, I think we're going to start pulling out those close games. Like, if this team played Iowa in 2016, like, if they had the same culture, the same belief in one another, we would have won. We would have beaten Iowa that year. Gone in, and who knows, we could have beaten Ohio State that year with this team. We beat them that year anyways, in my opinion. JT was short. But you know what I mean. I'm really excited about where this team goes. I know next week is frightening and exciting and everything that you could ever want. I can't wait. I literally am scared and nervous and everything, and none of this can be possible. None of this will go on if we can't beat Northwestern this week. So let's dive into the numbers a little bit. It looks like, so I'll be honest, I haven't been paying attention to Northwestern outside of like a box score this whole season. I know they haven't really played anybody strong at all. They've lost to Michigan State. They've lost to Nebraska, big time loss to Nebraska. They've lost to Duke. I mean, not the greatest. They're not a very good team this year, but they pop up and they beat Rutgers 21-7. Go figure. I don't know when they benched this Hunter Johnson. I think he was the transfer from Clemson, but he stinks out loud. I mean, he's 45 for 75, 424 passing, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 7 sacks. Not great. And I think he's been benched now for the last couple games, so that explains why he only has 400 yards passing. Now, this Helinski kid looked like he had a pretty good game against Rutgers. He threw like a 65-yard touchdown, I think it was. The running back, be honest, the running back, Robinson Jr., or Washington it was, did most of the work, but still, he looked somewhat together, this quarterback. But if we get to him, I'm sure we can shake him up a bit. But he's 57 for 94, 645 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 4 sacks. So what that tells me, they're looking at, it's about, well, up right there, it's just 11 sacks. Nebraska allowed 18 so far this last week, or you know what I'm talking about, in the season. So they didn't have a very good offensive line. Hopefully Northwestern has an even worse offensive line. I think it's built for the front seven just to create absolute chaos. So I would love to see Michigan force this kid into some mistakes. I want to see, obviously they'll shut down the run because their running back, as of right now, only has 562 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns. So, not a strong running game. Their passing game's okay, but listen, it's your backup quarterback. He seems to be doing okay. He hasn't thrown a pick yet, but they haven't really played anybody, you know. So I would like to see if we can get under his skin, make him a little nervous, and I think it's perfect for Ojabo. What a way to say that name. And then Aiden Hutchinson to really create havoc this week. and I look for that kid to be panicked, seeing ghost, as Darnold would say. Seeing ghost. That's what I would love to see as one of the keys to this victory. Is got to shut down the run, so this way you don't have to worry about any play action stuff. And then just make this Hilinski just regret waking up in the morning. I think their defense is all right. It doesn't look like it's game breakers. They do have 14 sacks on the season. I think there's one player I saw with like 2.5 sacks. They've got 3 interceptions on the year. So, I mean, not great. I mean, they allowed 52 points to Nebraska. You know, they kind of shut down Michigan State at the beginning of the year. So I think they're kind of Heckle and Jekyll, you know, with their offense and defense. I mean, if you really look at the season, it's they lose, they win, they lose, they win. It's every other week they're doing the opposite. So this week it just happens that they're going to lose. You know what I mean? Like I look through the season and that's where it kind of lines up. So I I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this. It's going to be very easy. If we focus on Northwestern, take them seriously, and we beat the shit out of them in the first half. So this way, guys like McCarthy and Edwards can get in the second half and kind of play and get used to it. Because I'll be honest, as we're starting to see here, you lose your backup quarterback. I mean, you lose your starting quarterback in the Big Ten. Your backups seem to be Garbaggio. I mean, Penn State is suffering right now because of Sean Clifford. Did you see how that kid came in and played? I mean, obviously great athlete, but was not prepared, not ready to play a big game like that. You know, so that's why we need McCarthy to even get more and more playing time. Because let's face it, McNamara's not going anywhere. He's our starter. We need to support that kid. The more I see him, I know he's missing some plays, but I love that kid's leadership. I really do. I love his leadership. I think he has everything that you want. If he can just start connecting on some of those passes downfield, he could be easily the best Michigan quarterback Harbaugh has had ever, up until obviously McCarthy's going to be special. We all know that. So take that out of there. But if Cade can start hitting on those passes downfield, oh my God, we have got something special. We've got a 2016 team that could go all the way. You know, we could get to a Big Ten title game. I don't know about playoffs. Hell, I don't even know if we'll beat Ohio State. But I am growing each day. I look at the Big Ten and I look at some of these teams play and I see what we've been doing and I get more and more encouraged. Absolutely encouraged to see what this defense can do, what this offense can do. And if he's on my mind. If Cade McNamara just takes one more step forward with the passing game, because he's got the leadership down. He's cool under pressure. He can make a mistake and not worry about, not let that destroy other drives. I mean, like the great Ted Lasso would say, he has the memory of a goldfish, right? So just that pass, if he can just get that down the field pass going, and one of our wide receivers just steps up, holy crap, we're going to be unstoppable. But yeah, so let's see, right? I mean, obviously, for us to win offensively, strong running game, hit a few big plays down the field, so Cade can hopefully take that next step, obviously. The running game needs to be solid. I mean, I'm looking for another 100-yard game for both Corum and Haskins. I expect Corum to be one of the players of the game because I just think he's going to flash. I would expect 1 to 2 big runs from that kid this week. I'm going to go with, because this game, the not so obvious stars who, I mean, it doesn't matter in this one because everybody I think is going to step up. So I'm just going to go with the obvious stars of the game in the defense, and that's going to be Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson or Ojabo are just going to just dominate defensively. So watch for Hutch or Ojabo to be the guy on defense to make some big plays, and watch Corum light it up. 120 maybe. 130. Hopefully, that'd be awesome. If we could get a 150 rushing game out of Corum, and if you give me 2 more minutes, it might get up to 170. But if we can get that with like a 95 to 100 yard rushing game from Haskins, holy moly, we may put 50 on this team. We may, but best case scenario, right? So let's hope Michigan pass this test on their way to getting ready for Michigan State. Just very excited about next week. So it's hard to do. It's hard for me to even focus on this one because it's like I just want to talk about Michigan State. I want to talk about how much I hate that school. How much I hate that school. I respect Ohio State. I may not like them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not some some behind the scenes fanboy for Ohio State. I hate them too. I don't like them, but I at least respect them. I can respect the winning. I can't respect Michigan State. I won't respect Michigan State. I dislike their fan base, except for a few that are my friends, and those people are actually good people. So I'm sure there's good people in the fan base. Don't get me wrong, but as a whole, I can't stand their fan base. I just can't. Just everything about Michigan State, I can't stand. It's just they annoy me too. Because you know my belief on this. The only reason why they have ever been good is when we're bad. That's it. When we allow them to be good. So that's what annoys me. They haven't risen up and taken it. They've only taken it when we suck. And anytime they've ever beaten us, it's always been some bad performance by Michigan. I mean, ultimately bad performance or some weird fluke play. And this whole Harbaugh thing, right? The block or the drop punt. We got O'Korn in 17 with five interceptions. No, 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, right? 2020. Whoa, come on. That was an awful. I mean, that destroyed. Well, thank God. Actually, thank God for 2020, right? I've said this plenty of times. 2020 will always be the best. It's the worst year, but it's the best year because it helped us shed that dead skin and move on to something greater. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say right now. I predict Michigan to win this one easily, going away, 42-10. I think our offense is going to get moving early. I think we're going to dominate them. I think the run game is going to be hot right off the bat. I think we're just going to run it right down their throat. And then when they try to stop the run, I think that's when you're going to see the tight ends start eating up that middle. Because if you've seen anything over the last couple weeks, the tight ends should be the ones that we're focusing on now. Because the wide receivers are dropping balls or doing whatever, and it's just they're not in sync yet. I don't think. I don't know when they're going to, but the tight ends, man, hitting up that middle seam, eating up in the overall meat of the field there. The big heart of the field. It's open almost every time, and they scheme these great plays for the tight ends. We need to start using guys like All and Schoonmaker to really be the next Jake Butt. So I would love to see the tight ends just eat often this week. But the running game is going to dominate. We'll probably have over 250 yards rushing. I would hope for 300, fingers crossed. But, I'd realistically be happy with 250. That means at least both of them hit over 100. Our defense is just going to stop them early, dominate them. And then I would say a garbage time touchdown maybe in the fourth quarter because, like one of my Twitter followers said, you can always count on death, taxes, and a garbage time touchdown by Michigan, and it's true, And no offense, it's the third and fourth string. That's just what they do. So, 42-10. Hey, it could be more. I'm hoping for more. I do not want to see this like a 24-10 type of game. That's just going to be very disappointing. I mean, ultimately, I don't care if we win, but still, I'm not. It won't be. We're going to have a lot of questions, let's just put it that way, if we play down to Northwestern. So get this new rivalry trophy and call it a day, move on, and let's start Paul Bunyan week, man, hate week. So 42-10. It should be a nice walk in the park. It should be one of those games where we just sit back and enjoy and just like fall in love with this team even more, right? Just be gushing over the performances of Corum and Hutchinson and even Cade and all this. I can't wait. And that's what I ultimately want. And then we put our eyes on that real stinkhole they call East Lansing and the awful, stupid team that comes out of it. Oh, God, I hope we win that game. It just, even when they suck, they can beat us. It creates such anxiety in me, but I love it. Am I weird? Am I weird that I love this feeling? Am I weird that I look forward to these stupid rivalry games? Even though if we lose, it's going to be fucking miserable to lose to Michigan State once again. This back-to-back years, unacceptable. Like, and then this whole love affair with Michigan, I fear, is just the wheels are gonna fall off, and then we're all gonna just hate them again. Even though I don't want to do that, and I'm going to try not to, and I don't want to be seriously disappointed. But this is one of those games next week that you have to win. It's inexcusable to lose to Michigan State. It just is. And I know that's arrogant. So the 3 Michigan State fans I know listened. Yes, it's incredibly arrogant of us. But whatever. You know the score. You know who this is. So deal with it. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. But 42-10. Michigan should win easy. Hopefully, please, God, let this happen. As you can tell, I'm still scarred from all those other teams that couldn't live up to the hype. So I'm trying to release that, the hurt and just believe. I'm wanting to believe, and each week it becomes easier and easier to really like going from sipping the Kool-Aid to gulping the Kool-Aid. So I just hope it just continues, because I hate hating this team or being upset by this team or whatever, being disappointed by I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this team. So I'm going to leave it at that before I ramble on and say way too much of nothing. So guys, 42-10, guys, I'm excited. I can't wait till Saturday and the next week. All right, I'm getting out of here. Guys, take care. Oh, also, before I leave, I am going to be doing the first Ask Me Anything of the season starting next week. I figured if we're going to bring back an oldie but a goodie, let's bring it back for Hate Week, for the Paul Bunyan Week, to just shit on Little Brother. So let's get out. Ask Me Anything starting next week. Send in those questions. I'll post it again, reminding everybody at the beginning of next week. But let's do it. Sorry about the Michigan Man Crush yesterday. Just working way too much out here in Austin. I'm trying to build up a nest egg, so just in case everything goes to shit in this country, I have some type of money to fall back on. Just so you guys know. So sorry about that one. I will try and make it up later. But guys, it is great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It is great to be a Michigan Wolverine. And always and forever, guys. Go Blue.